2015 rolls around the corner and I start talking to this hockey player. And yes, if you're from Chicopee Comp or Chicopee High, any part of Chicopee, you know what I'm talking about. We all know what happened. And you know why? Because of Morrisette. 15, 16-year-old me did not realize that this would literally be the worst day of my life. Thanks to Joe Morrisette. I don't know why it really pissed Joe Morrisette off. I was hurt, but I didn't like show it. And honestly, I just wanted to go home at that point. And I thought that was the worst. Little did I know that she was showing everybody in her class. But there was no like proof really. There was no, it was just like a he said, she said. She tells Miss Carlos what happened. And Miss Carlos asked me and she's like, is this true, Tim? I've always liked you as a student, but I need to report this if this is true. And I was like, yeah, it is true. Because not only did I feel alone, but the hockey player was now playing the victim. He was saying that I was lying. He was saying I had screenshots, I had everything, and he just made me look so dumb. And I wasn't worried about hooking up with somebody in the school, because when you go to a school where teachers are having sex with the students, when other students are having sex in the stairwells and in classes, you know, you don't really think anything else. You don't really have that high of a standard of a school or what to expect in high school. So I tell Miss Carlos, yes, it happened. She tells Joe Morrisette, waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting because I know something's gonna happen. Joe did not like me to begin with. After 6th period rolls around, I see tweets and I get texts that a teacher was telling students about what happened. You know that teacher? I don't know what it was about the dynamic in Chicopee Comp, but what happened to me was not okay. And 7th period hits and I'm about to go home. And then you hear on the intercom, Tim Vadnais, come to Morissette's office now. His hand, somehow, magically, is on the intercom. I distinctly remember him saying to me, I don't care what happened between you and blank. If you guys hooked up in the school, I don't care. You don't accidentally press a fucking button. A teacher ran in. I didn't even realize it was on the intercom because I was hearing it from him. Like I was right in front of him and he was just talking and I did not realize until it was too late. Like I realized before the teacher ran in, but at that moment, maybe I was in shock that it was all happening. The teacher runs in and she's like, you need to turn your intercom off now. I remember that, and it was a girl teacher, and thank you. You're gonna tell me, if it was a different student, if it was a student that has never been bullied, that has never been made fun of, that has never experienced pain, that maybe might not know how to deal with things like this, that maybe just might be a little more sensitive, you're gonna tell me they would not have went home and killed themselves then. Having a bunch of people talk about you feels like the whole school is talking about you. But when you literally confirm something that happened over the intercom with 1,500 students, 2,500, they all already know and they've all been tweeting about it, and then you go on the intercom and you confirm it, and you don't even have the fucking decency to apologize to me or my family because you felt bad for the kid that was lying. You had 4 years to apologize. You had 4 years to make things right. You had 4 years to get fired from your fucking job, and now you're trying to run for mayor. This is not a presidential election. This is nothing but a city mayor candidacy. This goes beyond family. This goes beyond friendship. This is what's right and what's wrong. If you think exposing 2 students, if you think calling a student a faggot, if you think making teachers feel uncomfortable, if you think any other story that might surface is acceptable for you to run for mayor, the day that I saw his sign on somebody's front lawn just took me back to such a dark place.
The truth is that, you know, like Trump the other day was speaking in a rally and he said she has no memory of how she got to the party. You know, should we trust that she remembers the assault? And the answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. And I also know that this woman is smart because she's a psychologist. She's no dummy. If someone is assaulted or experiences trauma, there's science and scientific proof. It's biology. The people change. The brain changes. And literally, what it does is it takes the trauma and it puts it in a box and it files it away and shuts it so that we can survive the pain.
Now, with that being said, I never felt the need to self-harm. So I can't imagine what the hockey player must feel. You didn't just embarrass us. You didn't just take Nick Stark's hat. You didn't just make that teacher feel uncomfortable. You left us with a mark. And seeing your name across Chicopee is saddening. It's disgusting. Having not only your son speak upon you, but having your daughter tweet about you. If I was a father, I would not have my children defend my battles. So when you have your son speak upon what you are being accused of, that doesn't look good. If it happened, I'm not gonna sit here and say it didn't happen. Are you? You can't pick and choose who you protect as a student. How do we know that you are not gonna pick and choose who you protect as mayor for City of Chicopee? How are we gonna know that you don't break rules, regulations, codes, and policies while being in the chair of a mayor? We aren't. So, I hope that this video helps you. Joe, I hope this video makes you realize how close me and the other student could have killed themselves. In the description box below, I'm gonna put the times that might be a little too much for some people to listen to imagine, but if you aren't somebody that gets triggered from swear words, from very graphic situations, then just watch the whole video. You shouldn't need to skip over if that doesn't apply to you. The reason I am being so graphic and so real is because for me on my channel, I've always been very transparent. First of all, on any social media of mine, I've been very transparent. That's just me. I'm not gonna act different. There's a truck going by, sorry. In this situation, I'm not gonna minimize what happened to me. I'm not gonna blur out something in a tweet. I'm not gonna censor a swear word. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna keep it 100 and I am going to show you what happened to me as a result of Joe Morrisette. Hi guys, so today I wasn't really gonna make this a video in the context that I'm making it now. When I was planning on making it, I was going to have more of like a fun aspect and like my normal YouTube aspect, you know, like carefree, who gives a... But then I saw some things on Facebook, and this is beyond a joke. This isn't really funny. It's kind of pathetic on some people's behalf. But before we get into this story, you read the thumbnail, so you clearly know what it's about, and it's not a good story. It's a good story, but it's not a good experience. So this video has no correlation with my father's candidacy at all. He is running for city council, and Joe Morrisette is running for mayor, surprisingly. I don't know what you think you're doing, but this is not sabotage. This is not a lie. This is not defamation of anybody's name. There are receipts, there are messages, there are tweets, and there are about, I don't know, let's ask you, Joseph, how many people were in the school the day that this incident happened? 1,500, maybe more than that? But if you're from Chicopee, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I will be keeping some names censored, but some people I'm not gonna censor, because do you deserve to be hidden? Do you deserve to hide if you were bullying people? I don't think so. If I was telling people to kill themselves, I would own up to that. And if you ever had that altercation with me, this is your tape. And the reason I'm doing that is because I could understand if we were in middle school. I could understand if we were in elementary school. We were in high school when this happened. We had jobs, we had cars, we had sports, and we had other obligations. We were growing up. Now I say growing because we were still in the process, but we understood what our words could do to people. We've seen it on TV. We've seen it in movies, TV shows. We've seen it in the newspaper. People kill themselves every day over bullies. So for you to wonder why your name isn't being censored, it's because I don't have any respect for you. Now this human, yes, yup, I said human because I do not believe this man, because I do not believe this person is a man. A man is nothing that Joe Morrisette is. Joe Morrisette is a coward, and that's the T. The reason that I'm talking about this now is because in high school, I had nobody on my side. You know, I had friends, but after this situation happened, they did not want to be involved. Neither did the teachers, staff, coaches, neither did anybody. Everybody turned a blind eye and pretended that nothing happened because it wasn't their problem. Imagine, you don't know the story yet, but me, I'm very strong-willed. I do not care what anybody has to say, and that's also an outcome of Joe Morrisette and what he did to me. I had to become the strongest I could be because there was nobody by my side. And if I wasn't the strongest that I could be, you know what would have happened? I could have went home that day. I could have went home, my parents wouldn't have been home, and I could have literally killed myself. Me being a very strong person mentally, I would never do that. I would never let anybody take my life away from me. But say I had anxiety, say I had depression, say I went to school to literally get away from a toxic situation where I lived in, and then the school that I find comfort, confidence, and security is taken away from me. A kid will literally slit their wrists open, and their parents are gonna have to find them. And whose fault is it gonna be? You don't send unstable students home. My incident happened in 2015. I think I was 15 at the time. And after Joe's accident, I was bullied constantly. I would literally go to my locker and everybody would look at me. I would go to class and people would just be like, faggot, That's what happened. That was a result of Joe. And that's just in school. See this big freaking stack of papers? Yeah, those are just some of the screenshots that I could find from my old Twitter account in high school where people would literally bully the fuck out of me. Let's talk about that, okay? Joe, you know, I would go to school and it would be hell. I would go to the lunchroom and I felt uncomfortable. And then I go home thinking it's gonna be okay, thinking nobody's gonna try to hurt my feelings, try to break me down, try to make me feel like I'm somebody that I'm not. I would log into Twitter, I would go on Facebook, and then I would just see things, just like faggot, a good one, bitch, ooh, original, gymnastics prick, yes, that's me, the gymnastics prick, a really good one, a ballerina bitch. Others said things such as, tell blank I said what's good. You know who it is, you know the name, and if you're watching, you're a part of this. And I apologize for what I did, but what you did was even more fucked up. People told me to kill myself. Somebody said, you look like you guzzle cum, yup, like you guzzle cum with a straw out of your mother's cock-filled asshole. Really? Another said, oh, and this actually happened senior year, so yeah. But when I see you, I'm smacking the shit out of you. If what happened in 2015 never happened, that wouldn't have fucking happened. Another one, you're gay. Somebody said in a long paragraph, 'cause you're a faggot. Have you seen yourself? I mean, look at you. Tim, I'm now gonna beat the fuck out of you. Isn't that sad? Did your son ever have to do with that, Joe? Did Matthew? Matthew, when you went on Facebook and you defended your father, you look dumb. Disgusted. I'm literally disgusted. How dare you say that to a student? How dare you say that when your son is fucking gay? Let's say this. I'm gonna give my opinion real quick, because this is my channel. I will say what I want. If I was your wife and I heard you talk to any student, child, minor, whether it be a girl, a guy, don't you dare degrade anybody. Maybe I was brought up differently. It doesn't matter when it was, it doesn't matter what decade. I've made mistakes and we can talk about that. But at the end of the day, I was brought up on not lying. And you know, maybe that got me in trouble here and there because maybe I told the truth a little too much. If it happened, I'm not gonna sit here and say it didn't happen. Are you? Trash, 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 trash. That is my response to your fucking response to that. First of all, are you his damage control team? Are you his voice? No, 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 you are not. If people made accusations about my dad and the way that people are making accusations about your dad, my dad would not want me to respond. He would want to respond. He would, if he had the blame, he would want to take it. Because, you know, that's what a man does. They don't have their son deal with their battles. Since you're his damage control team, let's talk. Thank you for blocking out the word faggot, but that doesn't minimize what your father is capable of, Matthew. Key point 1, I was not there to witness it, but it is extremely hard to believe. Let me ask you this, buddy. When you were in elementary school, it was right around Christmas time. The snow is just falling. Did your mom tell you to write a fucking list to Santa Claus? Did you ever see him? No. But you believed in it, right? Yeah. Just because your dad supported you does not mean that he'd support other people. So please, we enjoyed your cheap, low quality, generic response to this, but we didn't ask for it. I figured I'd share how my dad impacted me. Yeah, I'm doing that too, about your dad, thank you. Family's gonna support you no matter what. But when he gets into his office, he's not thinking about family right then and there. And just because he supports you does not mean that he supports everyone. You're his son. He's clearly gonna support you. It's definitely very difficult to even talk about because it was very traumatic for me and the other person, or so it seemed. So way before this situation even happened, I was friends with this girl, her name, best friends actually, or so I thought. Her name, Faith. I know she had a kid right out of high school. Other than that, I haven't heard of her. I know she tried following me on Instagram and I was utterly disgusted. In 2014, me and Faith were friends. We were best friends actually. And we had gym together, 6th period. Me and her would just always try to like get combined because I don't know, it's funner when you have friends at gym. And so one gym class, we were talking and I was like, oh, I like this person. And she's like, oh, well, him and I were talking. Oh, before I even mentioned, she was the only person that knew that I liked guys because I trusted her so much. So she's like, oh, I like him too. And I'm like, oh, okay, like whatever. Later that day, so it's 6th period, and I go home, get a message from the kid. I also see on Facebook that she said something. At this point, I knew that her and this person were talking. Yes, I have this screenshot from 2014. I was a savage and I saved every screenshot. Later that day, after I told her, she posts on Facebook, in a relationship with so-and-so. So, oh, I said, aw, you two are so perfect. Got into this huge Twitter drama, outed me. The next day, she was supposed to be my best friend and she was in the comments telling everybody in this school who I liked at some point. Now, why is that such a big deal? Why was it so bad that you literally were so intimidated by me liking somebody that you needed to tell the whole school my business? Let me ask you that. After that day, I think it was like right around summertime. It was right before summer hit. And it was hard. It was hard. Not gonna lie, because in my school there wasn't like a lot of gay people, and so with that being said, as time progressed, I tried to take control of it because it is my life. People would be like, oh, you're such a fag. Oh, you're gay. And then I have these guys hitting me up, like messaging me from the lacrosse team, football teams, wrestling, you know, people that you would not think, people that girls would obsess over. So, you know, I just started owning it because that was the only way to control it, because if you're gonna be labeled as something, you might as well work that shit and be the biggest fucking fag you can be. I'm sorry, Matthew, if that bothered you. I'll censor it out. So with that being said, I was trying to take control of my life in unhealthy ways. You know, it's no different. The quarterback on the football team is trying to take control of his life in unhealthy ways. So why is it not okay if a girl does that? Why is that not okay if a person like me does that? Let me ask you that. With that being said, my confidence, I literally just had to fake being the most confident person ever. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna go home and cry myself to sleep, or am I gonna go and respond to the, like, hockey player? And over the summer, I was bullied so much on Facebook. People on Facebook think that you're not gonna see them, blah, 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 blah. We know how that works. 2015 rolls around the corner and I start talking to this hockey player. And yes, if you're from Chicopee Comp or Chicopee High, any part of Chicopee, you know what I'm talking about. We all know what happened. And you know why? Because of Morrisette. How dare you? So, as I said, I was talking to this hockey player and it just made me feel so confident, like somebody that's like kind of like cool and known is talking to me exclusively. But there was a catch. And at this age, I was, I believe, 16 or 15, I can't remember. But he was a year older than me and he was dating this girl. But I was younger, I was immature, I didn't realize like that was like bad. So he was talking to me on the side. Yes, I was a side hoe. I can't believe I'm saying that. He was not openly gay at this time and we really wanted to hang out, but more so we wanted to do things that people in relationships would do. So we planned to meet up, but we weren't able to meet up after school. My parents were home, his parents were home. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. Sorry, Dad. But you know why this needs to be talked about. So we planned to meet at the school. 15, 16-year-old me did not realize that this would literally be the worst day of my life. Thanks to Joe Morrisette. Now, my parents didn't know that I was into guys. They probably had like a suspicion because I mean, not that many straight people like Lady Gaga to the extent that I do. I never told them. He never told his parents either. And frankly, I'm the person that never really brings it up all the time. If I'm asked, I will say the truth, obviously, but I'm not gonna be like, hi, my name's Tim, I'm fucking gay. We planned to meet up in the school and we started talking about it. I do wanna make this clear that this situation was not forced upon anyone. This was not one-sided, or at least I didn't think it was. It was all consensual. It was not taken out of context. Just think of it as if it was the football player and a cheerleader. You've seen that in movies before, hooking up in the school, and no one really seems to say anything about it. It's like normal. I don't know why it really pissed Joe Morrisette off. Around March 2015, we've been talking since the beginning of the school year, but this month we really were like, I don't know what to say to that. We were really ready to experiment. We were both Snapchatting each other on this day. We were at school. The timing exactly actually was around 7:56 a.m. It was literally 10 minutes after the bell rang and the teacher literally didn't even finish doing announcements. It was first period. We didn't see this situation to be bad at all because, I don't know, it just did not seem, it felt normal. We continued to message each other on Snap and we decided to meet up. So I leave my class, I was in chemistry class, I used the bathroom pass. We both decide to meet up at the bathroom right next to the nurse's office on the first floor. So originally we wanted to meet there, we get there, and I'm like, okay, we need to lock the door. Like, I don't want somebody coming in, like, that'd be crazy. The door didn't lock, and we needed privacy, obviously. We decide to go to the locker room. We walk past the CTE hallway, we walk right past the CTE vice principal's office, and looks at both of us, and we go to the locker rooms for the gymnasium, and in these locker rooms they have private showers with 2 curtains. We were walking together obviously, and I was in the shower stall waiting because he started talking to the physical education instructor slash teacher, whatever you call him, the one that everybody made a rumor about, saying that he walked in when that did not happen. And the hockey player was very close with this teacher, and the teacher didn't think anything of it. You know, there wasn't a class going on, there was no scheduling for any use of the lockers, so it was kind of weird. He's done talking to the physical education teacher, and you know, we do whatever. And at that moment I realized I made a mistake, because the things that we talked about personally over Snapchat and privately did not happen. What happened was he got what he wanted, and I was hurt by it. One of my first experiences, and it just wasn't a good one. So I was hurt, I felt lied to. It wasn't like a first experience, it was the first time that I had feelings for somebody. I was hurt, but I didn't like show it, basically. Like, I just walked away quietly, left the locker room, and we walked separate ways. He got what he wanted, he left that way. I was hurt, I felt embarrassed, I was annoyed, I was sad, and honestly, I just wanted to go home at that point. And I thought that was the worst. So, like I said, this time I had chemistry class. I was walking back to my class. It was on the 3rd floor, I believe. And I'm walking up, and I go on Snap to text him. And I see that I'm blocked. And I'm just like, that hurt. It hurt my feelings. I was texting my friend about it. Friend, Sabrina. Heard she got married to this guy after dating him for like a month. Hope that works out well for you. I was texting her about it, and little did I know that she was showing everybody in her class. After everybody found out, in Sabrina's class, people already started tweeting about it. Tweets like, yo, did you hear what just happened about the locker room? So I just had to own it. Like, if people came up to me, I'd just be like, yeah, that happened. I don't care. I'm not gonna lie. I get back to the class, literally, I was at the bathroom for 30 minutes, so you know, they knew what happened, they saw the tweets. But yeah, I just owned it. Like, there was nothing else I could do. What was I gonna do? Just pretend like it didn't happen and literally cry myself to sleep? No. So the day progressed, and I went from class to class, and I went from hallway to hallway. Everybody started coming up to me. Everybody, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, yeah, it happened, it happened, it happened, blah, 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 blah. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I would lie if I wasn't getting played, if I wasn't lied to. But if you wanted to do the things that you did with me and not do anything that we talked about mutually, why wouldn't you just do it with your girlfriend? I go to 5th period. My 5th period class was after lunch. So, lunch was interesting. Everybody, like I said, everybody just like was breaking their necks, like, and I was just owning it. Like, there was nothing else I could do. And so I go to sit with my friend Sabrina. I don't know why I was still even friendly with her, but she was literally like my only friend that year. I take her Voss water bottle. Yep, a Voss water bottle. I take it and I have a sip out of it. And she's like, disgusting. Disgusting. I know what you did 1st period. How dare you drink out of my Voss water bottle? That was $3. You better buy me a new one. Blah, 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 blah. If you don't buy me a new one, I'm telling Miss Carlos what happened. I'm showing her the messages, and you're gonna get in trouble. And I'm like, all for a water bottle? Like, you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be my best friend, actually. And you're gonna ruin possibly my whole high school career? Like, even though I already had control of what happened, but there was no, like, proof, really. There was no, it was just like a he said, she said. And so I was like, I'm not getting you a fucking water bottle, you psycho bitch. We go into class, I have class with her, and it's Miss Carlos, and she tells Miss Carlos what happened, and Miss Carlos asked me, and she's like, is this true, Tim? I've always liked you as a student, but I need to report this if this is true. And I was like, yeah, it is true, because not only did I feel alone, but the hockey player was now playing the victim. He was saying that I was lying. He was saying that it never happened. He was saying all these things, and I had screenshots, I had everything, and he just made me look so dumb. And so I was like, yeah, I was really hoping for one of the administrators to be on my side when I came to their office with screenshots. And I wasn't worried about hooking up with somebody in the school, because when you go to a school where teachers are having sex with the students, when other students are having sex in the stairwells and in classes, you know, you don't really think anything else. You don't really have that high of a standard of a school or what to expect in high school. Now, with that being said, here's where it gets a little crazy. So I tell Miss Carlos, yes, it happened. She tells Joe Morrisette. This was 5th period, and after this happened, I was like, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I'm fucked. 6th period rolls around, and nothing happens, and I'm just like waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting because I know something's gonna happen. Joe did not like me to begin with. After 6th period rolls around, I see tweets and I get texts that a teacher was telling students about what happened. You know that teacher? Miss Carlos. One of my favorite teachers, one of the closest teachers I was with, telling students, like gossiping, just gossiping. I don't know what it was about the dynamic in Chicopee Comp, but what happened to me was not okay. People just kept tweeting at me. And 7th period hits, and I'm about to go home. It's literally like it's literally like 1:35, like 20 minutes before the bell rings. And then you hear on the intercom, Tim Vadnais, come to Morissette's office now. The fucked up thing about that was, yes, I get that you needed me to come to your office, but if you knew the extent to what happened, would you not try to protect the student at least, even if they did something wrong? Because I'm pretty sure in the student rights and handbook, there's about 3 codes that you maneuvered around. So I get to his office, and he sits down, and I sit down, and he's like, do you know what this is about? And I'm like, I'm not fucking dumb. I'm not dumb. And we're talking. His hand, somehow, magically, is on the intercom. And we're having a conversation. And I distinctly remember him saying to me, I don't care what happened between you and blank. If you guys hooked up in the school, I don't care. But, blah, 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 I forget. And with that being said, the intercom was on. The intercom. Now let me give you a little backstory of my school. There's 4 floors. And that's just half the school. Then there's a CT hallway. And then there's the gym area. So imagine a school the size of a football field. And then 4 stories high. How many kids do you think are in there? How much faculty is in there? You don't accidentally press a fucking button. A teacher ran in. I didn't even realize it was on the intercom because I was hearing it from him. Like I was right in front of him and he was just talking and I did not realize until it was too late. Like I realized before the teacher ran in, but at that moment, maybe I was in shock that it was all happening. The teacher runs in and she's like, you need to turn your intercom off now. I remember that, and it was a girl teacher in my, thank you. After that, I never got an apology. I never got a little more respect from him because I feel like if you make that big of a mistake, you're gonna wanna try to make the student feel okay and comfortable because you know your job could be on the fucking line. Yeah, you made a mistake, buddy. Tell me this. Tell me I already had anxiety. Say I had anxiety. And the whole day that this was going on, it was just eating me up alive. And I was like, and I'd be like, can't wait to go home where I'm alone. Say I had depression. Say I felt so alone that I just wanted to go home and be with my family. Say I had a combo of those. And then this situation happens. You're gonna tell me, if it was a different student, if it was a student that has never been bullied, that has never been made fun of, that has never experienced pain, that maybe might not know how to deal with things like this, that maybe just might be a little more sensitive. You're gonna tell me they would not have went home and killed themselves that day. You are so lucky I did not, first of all, because if it was any other student, having a bunch of people talk about you feels like the whole school is talking about you. But when you literally confirm something that happened over the intercom with 1,500 students, 2,500, they all already know and they've all been tweeting about it, and then you go on the intercom and you confirm it, and you don't even have the fucking decency to apologize to me or my family because you felt bad for the kid that was lying. The kid that said, oh, it was all a lie and he's bullying me. The kid that was just too embarrassed, that got what he wanted, fucked me over, and then I told the truth. It would be different if you liked me as a student before, but you always made it a point to just make my life a living hell in Chicopee. And that being said, later that day, I go home and I'm forced to come out to my parents. Either way, I would have been forced to come out because they would have been brought to the school about the situation. I should not have had to tell them that all of my business was said over the intercom for tons of students, faculty, teachers, and coaches to hear about. And the other students shouldn't have had to deal with that either, but would it have escalated to this extent if you stayed true to your word? Probably not. The SRO, Student Resource Officer, at our school had a son that attended the school. I go on Twitter and I see him just bashing me. Just bashing. I was just being treated like nothing, like I was nothing. Not that I was being treated as an embarrassment, or I was literally being talked to like dirt. Like I was, that my life did not matter. The other kid, the hockey player that was involved in this, didn't have to deal with any of that because he had a girlfriend. He said it didn't happen. He said I was lying. Well, when you have screenshots, they're not lying, buddy. The next day, I go to the SRO officer and I'm like, hey, come with screenshots and everything. I'm like, hey, your son, your fucking son, is saying this about me on Twitter. You work here, you know what's going on, and you really have the audacity to let your son tweet about this? Now, with that being said, let's talk about the policies that were broken right there. Let's have a recap of what happened to me before this situation unraveled, because I want to talk about the regulations, guidelines, and the procedures that were broken when Joe Morrisette was my vice principal before the intercom situation happened. So, the key points to what happened before are Faith bullying me on Facebook, outing me, telling people that who I liked and who I didn't like, students threatening to fight me, students telling me to kill myself. In the description box below, I'm going to link the student handbook. I couldn't find the one from 2015, but that doesn't ever change. I never see anything new. I'm just using the 2019 one, and it should apply no matter what, because these are very basic rights and responsibilities of the students. So on page 5, it says to enhance the self-image of each student by helping him/her feel worthy, to deal with students in matters of discipline, to provide in every way possible safety, health, and welfare for students. Page 5 alone, there are 3 policies broken. How is the self-image of me going to get enhanced when there are students literally threatening to fight me, bullying me, telling me that my existence does not matter? How is that gonna make me feel? That's gonna make me feel like shit. To deal with students in matters of discipline. When I went to my guidance counselor about being outed on Facebook, why wasn't anything done? Why was the extent to what happened in my situation with the intercom and the hockey player, why was that not taken the same way as it was when I was outed? To provide in every way for safety, health, and welfare. I never felt fucking safe there. Page 7. The right to due process of law with respect to suspension, expulsion, and decisions of the students believes injures his/hers rights. Once again, when I went to any office, when I went to any administrative person with an administrative role, why was nobody doing anything? Page 7. The right to free inquiry. Once again, when I was outed by this girl, why wasn't I able to express myself? Why did nobody secure my self-esteem, my self-image, and protect me? Because once again, in my school, there was not a lot of students that were openly gay. And I didn't have a choice, so I had to own it, like I've been saying. Students' complaints and grievances, page 8. Once again, being bullied and no one doing anything. So I really want everybody to really just take this all in, because if you think that he can run for mayor when he could not even run a school, you are wrong. Page 8, open door policy. You're telling me when I went into my guidance counselor's office, when I went into the vice principal's office, when I literally came in looking for help and security and nobody backed me up, she didn't get in trouble, it was okay because she was a girl or something like that? Who knows? Why was it okay? Open door policy was broken. I'm not gonna read the whole policies because I'm giving the link in the bio so you guys can follow along. So if you're watching this on the computer, cut your screen in half, watch the video, and have the students' rights and responsibilities so you can see more in depth. Page 38, student rights to free speech. Page 100, methods of preventing student violence. There was nothing. I would literally walk out of the school. If you're from the school, you at 2:08, I don't know if that's a time now, that's when I would get out, but at 2:08 I would walk to the back gate because my house is like around that area, and I was so afraid that someone would run up on me because they did not like what I was. There were no steps taken. Everything was just a blind eye when it came to me. Unacceptable uses of network, page 102. Page 69, anti-discrimination/harassment. Once again, why was the school not on my side at all when I was openly gay? Page 69, what is discrimination including harassment? Page 69, what is discrimination including harassment? Harassment. Degrading. Page 72, hate crime. A hate crime may involve a physical attack, threat, or bodily harm, physical intimidation, or damage to another property. Anti-gay slurs. Procedure for reporting discrimination on page 72. Page 66, publication and notice. Page 64, prohibition against bullying. Reporting discrimination on page 72. Page 86, assault, battery, bodily harm. Page 75, student cell phones and electronic devices policy. Bullying and intimidating. Once again, the screenshots are going to be right up there. Via texting and social network sites. Page 88, acceptable use of networks. Page 89, repeated and flagrant violations. Nothing was solved. There was nothing solved out of any of this before my situation. Page 89, consequences for violations of policies. Administration interview. Was there a peer mediation? No. Was there a placement of a different classroom? No, we had fucking gym together. Was there an apology letter where the parents contacted? No. Now let's recap on what happened during my incident with the hockey player and the intercom. The key points of that situation were Sabrina telling the whole entire classroom about what happened, responding and telling the truth, her going to Miss Carlos because of a Voss water bottle, the intercom calling me down to his office after the whole school knew about what was going on, the intercom then exploiting me and the other student, the intercom exploiting me being a protected student since I was the only one gay, the intercom exploiting another protected student since he was telling the administration that he was going to kill himself, Miss Carlos then telling students what happened that day and the next day, people tweeting about it during the school day, turning a blind eye to my screenshots, not looking at the evidence, my screenshots, the cameras at the school, the times that I was not in class and he was not in class, and then taking the hockey player's side. I'm just gonna go through the pages and we'll just pinpoint them together. Page 5, non-discrimination statement, athlete versus gay. Athlete versus anybody in any school situation, basically. Page 5, student policy goals. The student is a top priority of all operations of Chicopee Public Schools. If that was true, and the student was telling you that he was gonna kill himself, you would not have had your hand on that intercom because you knew he could have went home and killed himself right then and there. 5, to protect and observe the legal rights of students. putting our information and names on the intercom for the whole school to hear. Page 5, to enhance the self-image. Calling me down to the office on the intercom is embarrassing. When I was in class, Miss Carlos telling the students, confirming it on the intercom. Page 5, to provide in every way possible for safety of students. Provide in every way possible for safety. If I was already saying last year in 2014, before this incident happened, that I didn't feel safe walking home, if I was going to guidance counselors and vice principals about feeling unsafe, getting threatened, and then you're gonna do that on the intercom? I shouldn't have to have my father pick me up from school. I should be able to walk home because he has a fucking job. Page 5, equal education opportunities to protect the dignity. Didn't protect any dignity for any student. Morrisette. The right to privacy, which includes privacy in respect to students and school record. Page 8, open door policy. Me telling Miss Carlos the truth, thinking that she would console, help, and maybe help figure this out, because she was one of my favorite teachers, and then I find out that she's telling other students. The hockey player walking into your office telling you what happened, and then 3 hours later you put it all over the intercom. Student publicity policy. I don't remember signing anything for you to put my information on the intercom. Page 100, methods of preventing student violence. Once again, hockey player saying he's gonna kill himself, and then the intercom shit happens. 102, unacceptable uses of network, people tweeting about this situation and no one getting reprimanded, no one saying that you need to delete the tweets. Page 88, acceptable uses of network, look at section C 7.5. Once again, people tweeting about it. Page 89, consequences for violations of policies and rules of conduct. Was there any detention given to Sabrina for outing protected students for what happened between me and the hockey player? Was there a behavioral contract? Was there a referral to a counselor? Was there positive behavioral contracts? Were there any letters of apologies? No. Page 89, consequences and administrative interview. Did the hockey player and I ever sit down and have a talk in an office? No. Did the hockey player get kicked off of any sports because he literally had sex in a school? No. Page 83, students' due process rights. I would try to speak my side of the story and no one fucking listened. Came in with receipts, proof, no one cared. Told the SRO officer to check the fucking cameras, did not. Cell phone and electronic device searches. Were any of our phones taken away? No. Anti-discrimination, once again. I was the only one getting scolded, the only one getting consequences. Page 69, what is discrimination? You're telling me that a student that was literally saying the word, yes, that happened, and owning up to the truth was sexually harassing, but the student that exposed another student did not create a hostile environment for them? Yeah, that's where the discrimination is coming into. Page 71, verbal forms of harassment. 74, confidentiality. I don't even need to get into that. And there's more, but these are just some. After my situation happened, this is what happened next in the order of events. I went to the SRO officer. I was explaining what his son tweeted and how, since he works there, he shouldn't be tweeting that. He did nothing. Son never got in trouble. Miss Carlos never got in trouble for literally confirming what happened. Morrisette never getting in trouble, never losing his job, never getting reprimanded, never saying sorry, never apologizing to me, never giving me a written form of an apology, never protecting me, never protecting the other student, discriminating against me between the hockey player. The third floor bathroom saying the hockey player and Tim had sex here. The abusive tweets, Sabrina not getting in trouble whatsoever for literally exposing a student. Page 5, to protect and observe the legal rights of students. Miss Carlos telling students, SRO officer protecting his son, Joe Morrisette with the intercom. Page 510, help enhance the self-image. Miss Carlos telling all the students. Page 31, the students' records. SRO officer's son tweeting about it. Page 8, open door policy, going into the SRO officer's room, hoping to feel comfortable to talk to him and not having any remorse for me. 102, unacceptable uses of network, people telling me to kill myself. Page 88, acceptable uses of networks, look at section C.1, C7.1, and C7.5. Page 89, consequences for violations of policies and rules of conduct. Page 76, cell phone and electronic device searches. Page 69, harassment, discrimination. Page 68, signs of suicide. Page 71, verbal forms of sexual harassment. Page 72, designated officials for addressing discrimination and harassment. This is not a presidential election. This is nothing but a city mayor candidacy. But the day that I saw his sign on somebody's front lawn just took me back to such a dark place. Now, with that being said, I never felt the need to self-harm. So I can't imagine what the hockey player must feel. You didn't just embarrass us. You didn't just take Nick Stark's hat. You didn't just make that teacher feel uncomfortable. You left us with a mark. And seeing your name across Chicopee is saddening. It's disgusting. Having not only your son speak upon you, but having your daughter tweet about you, saying, if anybody saw the Facebook post and has anything to say, DM me, I have time. This goes beyond giving an example of my dad. If I was a father, I would not have my children defend my battles. If I was a mother, I would not have my children defend my battles. If I was a grandparent, I would not have my children defend my battles. So when you have your son speak upon what you are being accused of, that doesn't look good. And if you think you're gonna respond to me saying sorry, respond to me saying something didn't happen, respond to me trying to shut me down, respond to me in any negative or positive way, don't respond to me. You had 4 years to apologize. You had 4 years to make things right. You had 4 years to get fired from your fucking job, and now you're trying to run for mayor. It sucks because I was friends with your daughter. I was friends with some of your daughter's friends. And I was friends with some people running for you. This goes beyond family. This goes beyond friendship. This is what's right and what's wrong. If you think exposing 2 students, if you think calling a student a faggot, if you think making teachers feel uncomfortable, if you think any other story that might surface is acceptable for you to run for mayor, is acceptable for you to stay shut, do yourself a favor and get your family off Facebook, deal with your battles yourself, and why don't you, since all this shit is coming up, get a damage control team. I do want to say this. If anybody has been personally victimized, threatened, made uncomfortable, felt deceived by, comment it down below. And if you're voting for this person, block me. Block me if you are voting for this person after watching this. And if you still are planning on voting for this person, if you are a grandparent, if you are a student, if you are in college, if you are part of the Chicopee public school system, think of it if it was your child. Think of it if it was your daughter. Think of it if it was your son. Think of it if it was something that your parents had to go through in high school. Because I know for me, if my son ever has to deal with what I had to deal with, think hard and long. Look at the policies that were broken before, during the situation, and after. You can't pick and choose who you protect as a student. How do we know that you are not gonna pick and choose who you protect as mayor for City of Chicopee? How are we gonna know that you don't break rules, regulations, codes, and policies while being in the chair of a mayor? We aren't. So, I hope that this video helps you. Joe, I hope this video makes you realize how close me and the other student could have killed themselves. Joe, I hope that if more things surface, that you have the balls to respond. To Miss Cushing, if another teacher walks in your office again and says they feel uncomfortable from your husband, you need to take a step back. Matthew, I think I've said enough for you. And Lily, I'm sorry that this had to happen, but when I saw other people coming forward, I just couldn't imagine anybody else going through anything. It's 2019. It's not 2006. It's not 1997. Times are different, and what happened was not okay to any of us. This was not a direct hit to the family. More so, I finally get to say what I wanted to say years ago. And now everybody knows. So it's basically like time repeated itself. You expose me and I expose you.